children. Lord, it sounds so easy, it shouldn't take long. Get back in the money in no time at all. He's gone country, look at them boots. He's gone country, back to his roots. He's gone country, a new kind of suit. He's gone country, yeah, he comes.
We brought our chairs.
He's gone country, a new kind of talk. He's gone country, look at them boots. He's gone country, oh, back to his roots. He's gone country, he's gone country. Early Monday morning to Friday at 5, man, I work, but I don't climb. Boss man can shove that overtime up his can. All I wanna do is put a drink in my hand. To fill it up or throw it down. I got a 40-hour week worth of trouble to drown. No need to complicate it, I'm a simple man. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. When you dance like that, you got that little tattoo playing peekaboo on your back. Yeah, if you wanna impress me, baby, here's my plan. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. Fill it up or throw it down. When you drive me home, take a long way around. You be my Lois Lane, I'll be your Superman. All you gotta do is put a drink in my head. My head, Monday morning at alarm clock sing. my rent. And wedding season is only beginning. Between the hair, the nails, the dress, the gifts, the shower, the flights, the drinks, the bath strip costs so much to do. Might have to skip a few. I still love y'all, but my bank account's drained. Yeah, summer, spring, or fall, only make it if I make it rain. And I get that it's your special day, and I wish that I could celebrate, but oh no, won't be there to hold your bouquet. 'Cause honey, I'm a bridesmaid, a bro. what I was trying to do. You know you got everybody looking. Got a little boom in my big truck. Gonna open up the doors and turn it up. Gonna stomp my boots in the Georgia mud. Gonna watch you make me fall in love. Get up on the hood of my daddy's tractor. Up on the toolbox, it don't matter. Down on the tailgate, girl, I can't wait to watch you do your thing. Shake it for the young bucks sitting in the honky tonks. For the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. The DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees, shake it for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek. For the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Oh, country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Somebody's sweet little farmer's child. They got a little blood to get a little wild. Ponytail and a pretty smile. Rope me in from a country mile. So come on over here and get in my arms. Spin me around this big old barn. Tangle me up like grandma's yarn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shake it for the young bucks sitting in the honky tonks. For the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. For the DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees, shake it for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek. For the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Guitar. Like a dandelion in the wind on the hill underneath the pines, yeah, blue. Like the river flows, feel the kick drum down deep in your toes. All I wanna do is get to holding you and get to knowing you and get to showing you and get to loving you before the night is through, baby. You know what to do. Shake it for the young bucks sitting in the honky tonks. For the rednecks rocking till the break of dawn. For the DJ spinning that country song. Come on, come on, come on. Shake it for the birds, shake it for the bees, shake it for the catfish swimming down deep in the creek. For the crickets and the critters and the squirrels. Shake it to the moon, shake it for me, girl. Oh, country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Oh, country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. Country girl, shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me. It started way back in third grade. I used to sit beside in a new haze, a pink dress, a matching bow with her ponytail. She kissed me on the school bus, but told me not to tell. Next day I chased her around the playground, across the monkey bars to the merry-go-round. And Emmy Lou got caught passing me a note. Before the teacher took it, I read what she wrote. Do you love me? Do you want to be chase me up and down the hall, around the bed in our room. Last night I took her out in a white limousine. 20 years together, she still gets to me. Can't believe it's been that long ago. When we got started, we just wanna know, do you love me? Do you want to be my friend? And if you do,
Here, just put that on. Pull that down. Bend it around. There you go. Say howdy, Coach.
How we doing?
All right. We're here for Game 2 of the Southeastern Fall World Series. I'm just going to say the gray team won last time. I don't know which one's the Storm and which one's the Savages.
Yeah, I think the blue team last time was gray, and I think that.
Oh,
was,
they swapped?
Yeah, they swapped.
Okay.
Home team is always going to be in blue.
Okay.
And then the away team is going to be in gray. So we switched for Game 2, and I think we designated the team in the home dugout wearing blue as the Storm. And the team out in the field wearing gray today is the Savages.
Okay, well, I've got it reversed on the scoreboard. But so who's ahead right now?
It's going to be the gray team, Savage.
Okay, let me reverse my scoreboard here. Well, this is cool. I think I can fix this scoreboard here. Let me go in here and change these colors. Yeah, let's do that. And do this one, and I'll do gray, and I think I've got it right now. Okay, so I've got Savages are the gray team, right?
Yes.
And they're ahead 2-0. All
2-0.
right. Well, we have a special guest, head coach Alan Traylor, in his very first year as the head coach at Southeastern. But you were the assistant here for what, 7 years?
7 years, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, like, you know the way to the dugout and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was, I would say, an easy transition, I suppose. You know?
What was the process like for you? I mean, it's got to be kind of scary because you don't know what the future is going to be like. If you don't get the job, you're talking about having to find another job and everything. Mm-hmm. So what was that like for you?
It was sitting on pins and needles.
The whole time. It seems like it went on forever too, didn't it?
It felt like it was an eternity. Not knowing, that was the biggest thing, is just not knowing what was in store, not just for me, but for my family.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You just try to, work hard every single day and just trust the Lord that everything's going to be all right. But, whenever you tell yourself that, and whenever you get home and you see your wife and kids, you just don't know what's going to happen. And it was a long 4 weeks, I think it was.
But it's kind of the life of you choose to be a coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
It can change on a moment's notice. You never know.
Yes.
From year to year, so.
Yes. It's a job that we choose to be in. It's a profession that we know what it entails, and unfortunately, for some family, depending on how old kids are, if they understand or not understand, and it's tough, but it's what we choose to do.
Hey, I moved around a lot when I was a kid, and it was okay. I mean, I remember not wanting to move, but then afterwards I was going, oh, okay, we lived in Dallas and Tulsa and on a farm in Arkansas and Prague and Shawnee. So,
dang.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And kids are pretty resilient, though.
Mm-hmm.
They are really resilient.
Yeah.
Well, so what does it mean to you to be I guess only the 5th head coach in program history at Southeastern? A lot of tradition.
Yes, sir. It means a lot. I know that I didn't play here, but I knew Southeastern. I knew the tradition. I knew what it meant to put on the pinstripes. I knew all that, and like ever since that, me and my wife moved here, I think it was back in 17, 18. This place welcomed me and my family with open arms, and the community is great. The community of Durant and Southeastern. I mean, we love it here. I mean, it's an amazing place.
It's unique. There's a good hit. You're going to have to tell us and the viewers who's hitting and stuff.
Yeah, that was Ryan Kirk right there.
Tell us a little bit about him.
Ryan Kirk's a utility player. He plays all over the place, a little bit of second, third, some outfield. Very versatile. Played at Fullerton Junior College out in California. So him and his family, I guess, moved in the middle of the season, or his family did rather, to the Austin area.
Really?
And I guess they got tired of being in California, and and so he stayed out in California to finish his season, his sophomore year, and at the end of the year, he was looking to kind of get back this way and be close to home, and we reached out to him and we met, and it was kind of a perfect match, if you will.
So who's batting right now?
This is Chase Keaton. Chase Keaton played at he was at, I think he out of high school went to McLennan, had Tommy John, ended up transferring to Murray State right down the road in Tishomingo. Played there for 2 years and then went to McNeese. Ran out of that D1 eligibility, so he was needing to find another place, and he could only go either NAIA or D2. And since he's from the Fort Worth area and he went to school at Murray, I mean, he knew this location, and it was a good place for him to be.
Well, this is the Fall World Series. It's kind of a thing that Coach Crabtree started, and you're continuing the tradition. It's an inter-squad, but you pick teams.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
It's team. It's half the team versus the other half of the team.
Oh, yeah.
And you got something on the line. What's
Yes.
on the line?
So on the line is going to be so we work some UNT football games as fundraisers.
Well, like ushers and things?
Yeah, usher, ticket taking. We do security. We do various different jobs, and basically is we have, I think, 4 dates that we do UNT football, and I elected to do the 5th on November 23rd, right before Thanksgiving.
Nobody wanted that one.
You imagine that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So November 23rd is the last UNT football game that we're going to do. So the loser of this World Series will have to work that. So it's pretty competitive.
All right. So that's what's on the line.
Oh, yeah.
And we played Tuesday, and the gray team won. Okay, tell me which one that is again, because we're switching.
So the gray team is now blue right now.
Oh, that was back by the fence. Could have a play at the plate. Out. But they did get 1 run, right? I think that's right. Or was that the only one?
I think that was the only one.
Oh, okay.
Coach Davis. We're going to have a talk with Coach Davis.
Yeah. That's your old job. Are you going to do that during the regular season?
That's a good question.
You haven't decided yet?
I haven't really decided. Of course, I want to be out there and I want to be with the guys, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you this, getting Travis Spinney on staff, that's going to help us tremendously.
Well, tell us about him.
So Travis played for Zach and I his senior year. That was our first year here. And he was started.
What was he, a center fielder?
Center fielder, yeah. Started in center and had a really good year his senior year. And then he jumped into coaching, and he's been at Hill Junior College for the last 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. And his wife, he met his wife here at Southeastern. She's an good catch.
Yep.
Ex-volleyball player, and she's a doctor, and she got transported to the Denison-Sherman area, so they moved back here, and he was looking for a job, and he didn't really want to go the high school route, so I said, well, come on, I'd love to have you.
Well, that's cool. So you got another guy as a hitting guy. Tell us about your main assistant coach, Ross.
So Ross Davis. Ross Davis, he spent the last 3-4 years over at Northeast Texas Junior College as the pitching coach and kind of the recruiting guy over there. So, that was a chance for us to hire a full-time pitching coach.
And he's a pitcher. He pitched in college and everything.
Yes,
right?
yeah. I think he played at Northwest Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. He did. He told me that.
Northwest Missouri, and then he jumped into coaching, and he's from Western Kansas. So.
Yeah, so don't ever talk about the wind blowing hard because he'll just laugh, right?
No, for sure. And it was kind of
Well, you played it. Didn't you play out at the Panhandle or somewhere out there?
Yeah.
So you know about the wind,
Oh,
too.
yeah. I'm originally from Dumas, Texas, north of Amarillo.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, you know wind.
Oh, I know it. Yes, sir. So, Ross, he was looking to kind of maybe take the next step from junior college to 4-year and wanted that challenge. And, that was a thing for us to get a full-time pitching coach. And then on top of that, he's a Texas guy, recruiting. He's got ties in Texas. So it was a good little recruiting piece for me to bring him on since we do so much recruiting into Texas. So.
That's what I've always heard since I've been around here for a long time now, that Southeastern kind of has an advantage. It used to be over the other Oklahoma schools, but because we're right here. Right here by 8, if you count all of North Texas, I think it's like 14 million people or something like that.
Yeah. Wait, and I was talking to a recruit the other day about this. Is like you can get to downtown Dallas from Durant faster than you can get
traffic.
Barring traffic, yes. But you can get to Dallas quicker than what you can Oklahoma City, and that's crazy.
Oh, way quicker. I mean, not even that. You can be in the Frisco, McKinney shopping district in an hour. And then Sherman Denison is, it's 30 minutes away at most.
Right. I think we have a huge advantage. I think good piece of hitting my stone. I think we have a huge advantage. I mean, just location-wise. I mean, we're 4 hours from Austin, 5 hours from Houston, hour and a half from Dallas, 2 hours from Fort Worth, 3 hours from Tulsa. So, I mean, we can get to a lot of places in a short amount of time.
I've never looked this up, but I do know this. In Oklahoma, there's 370-something high schools. In Texas, there's 1,700. But there's probably 500 in North Texas.
Oh, yeah.
More than the whole state of Oklahoma, yeah.
Just a lot of kids to pull from.
Yep. Well, just the population of Dallas is twice of that of Oklahoma. And so here's your chance. You're probably talking to parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles right now. What's your coaching philosophy?
I think it changes from team to team. There's things that you can do with certain teams and things you can't really. It's like, for example, this team that we have here is a lot of, seniors, fourth-year guys, and some fifth-year guys. John Gailey right here is on the mound pitching for us, and he's a true freshman. We've got a couple freshmen, but for the majority of it, it's a lot of older guys. So the teaching part of it, I don't want to say it's laxed, but these guys have played a lot of innings, a lot of baseball. They've seen a lot of things. So, there's some things that we can, spend a little bit more time on rather than, maybe some of the basic stuff, but as opposed to if you have a team full of freshmen. So, for us, we're going to be really offensive. We play in a beautiful ballpark, the Mike.
Matheny Field.
Yeah, it's the ball travels here. And
well, the game on Tuesday that was won by the Gray team 9-7. I think 14 of the 16 runs came in on homers.
Yep.
Now, some of them were 2- and 3-run homers, but
a
lot of homers. I didn't total them up, but there was probably something like 8 or 9 homers.
And that's what we talk to our pitchers about all the time is like it wasn't a very good day pitching-wise, and it was a good day, obviously, for the hitters. But, come springtime for the pitchers, just think about it. You're going to have 9 guys in the lineup that's going to be able to hit like that you should take a little bit of pressure off of you to, throw strikes and minimize some stuff, and it really, the solo home run's not going to kill you. It's going to be the walk, the error, the hit by pitch in between the home runs that's going to it really hurts you.
And you gotta. It's hard, but it's discipline. You gotta not get down. Because they're going to happen. I mean, I think our opponents hit 51 homers and how many home games we got? 18?
Oh, yeah.
There's just going to be a lot of homers.
I did the numbers. I did the numbers of this. Good heads up right there. I did the numbers, and I don't know if anybody really kind of knows this or even looked into it or wanted to look into it. And being a baseball stat guy, I found myself wondering, and I said, why not? But I went through everybody's box scores all year, everybody in our conference.
So you're an analytics guy.
Kind of, yeah. And I looked to see like how many home runs were hit here by us and our opponent.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. And I think my number, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but my number that I came up with was 89. 89 home runs hit here in a course of a season. And that was first in our conference. And the closest to
some
us
places
was
were like
85.
Southern Nazarene and Southwestern. They get a lot just because of the wind.
Wind, yeah. Yep.
But what's interesting, did you look at how, I think, like you said, maybe we hit 37 and our opponents hit 51 is what I had, something like that. But we only hit like 14 on the road games.
Yeah.
It's just so much difference.
Yeah, it was a big difference. Big difference. So, like, when we do recruiting, I mean, obviously we're going to probably, most of the time, play more home games than road games. So, I mean, you have to recruit to the ballpark that you play in. And if this place is going to fly, then we need some guys that are going to barrel some baseballs up, you know.
Big, strong guys that can hit it out.
Well,
and that's just kind of the way baseball and college baseball in general has been trending.
right. Well, and I tell the offense this all the time is like yes, the ball's going to fly here, and you're going to get some maybe cheap home runs here and there, and even on the road you're going to get some cheap home runs, but, you know, not really focusing on hitting the ball in the air because, you know, what if we have, you know, here a south wind that's blowing straight in, and it's a Friday night guy on the mound that's pretty good. Like, how are we going to score runs? We can't just rely on the home run. We have to maybe some way, somehow manufacture that run. So, you know, being able to bunt, hit and run, move a runner over, hit by pitch right there, you know, just different ways. Like, we have to be a dynamic offense to be able to score runs.
By the way, I know a way to cut down on homers here, and it has nothing to do with the fence.
Yeah.
But it would cost a lot. If you play night games, the wind
Night
doesn't
games,
blow
yeah.
nearly
Oh, yeah.
as much.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you know,
So like,
if you know
like
somebody
there's several
else that-
places. Northwestern has lights now. I think Harding has lights.
Yeah.
Who else has lights?
Southern Arc has the lights.
Yeah, that's right.
Monticello's getting lights this fall.
Okay. So if they play some night games, like they'll play Friday evening like at 6 or something a lot of times, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And at night, the ball just doesn't carry as much. There's not nearly as much wind. It has to do with, you know, the sun heats up the air. And you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But
Turn meteorologist.
we're trying to find.
We need a billionaire
Yeah.
hedge
that'd be
fund
nice.
guy that's a Southeastern grad,
That would be nice.
loves baseball.
That would be nice. We need some of those
But part of the-
safety jobs.
Part of the problem, though, I think with lights for college baseball, though, is, which it would be cool to have them, but if it's early in the year, it's too cold. I can remember years ago going and doing a high school game at night and freezing and being out here in the afternoon, and it was nice when the sun was out, but the season is stretched out more, so maybe you have,
Right.
and if you have other things going on, maybe that would give you a chance to have other events here.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to host different things, you know, during the fall, we can practice maybe
even
a
the
little
summer
bit.
sometimes.
Yeah, summer. You can host tournaments. You can like in August and September, whenever it's still really really hot outside and we're practicing, we can maybe, you know, postpone it until, you know, the evening where it's a little bit cooler. Especially if we have guys in class or labs or anything like
That was
that.
a good swing.
Wes having a good day today.
Yep, he hit an oppo homer and a pulled single. Kind of like that. Yeah, he kind of got off to a slow start last year. It came on second half of the season, wasn't it?
It was really good the last half.
Yeah. I think he had like a career day at, or was it Southern Naz?
Southern Naz.
Yeah. Yeah, that one game. That's you run into those playing up there in the wind. What was it
Mhm.
like? Went 10 innings and like 26-21
yeah.
or something like that.
Oh,
Sound like
yeah.
a football score.
Oh, yeah. Miserable days. You don't know what's going to happen. The wind's blowing 60 straight out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So who's hitting right now?
This is Austin Thorpe.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
Thorpe. He's been with us, I think this is his 3rd year. Shortstop. Split a little bit of time with Hurd last year over at short, and should have a pretty good shot at playing shortstop pretty much every single day this year. A guy that's been in, college baseball for 5-6 years due to COVID, getting another year back. Spent 2 years at 2 years at Navarro, and then came over here, and this is his 3rd year here.
I remember his first year he was hurt, and all he could do was bunt in the fall.
Mm-hmm. That seemed like a long time
Yeah.
ago.
It probably was.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of a prototypical small guy. He has pop. He can hit it out.
Oh, yeah.
Strong.
Sneaky.
Yep. That time he got overpowered by fastball.
I think he was just trying to get too big. Seeing everybody else barrel some balls up and 4-0, trying to go big fly, put one on the football field.
It's hard to lay off those high fastballs. If you can perfect that pitch as a pitcher, but it's got to be right at the top though. If it's a ball lower, they can catch up with it, but
Yeah, that's what we were talking about a little bit ago before we went on air. You start seeing guys throw more 4 seams up in the zone, and then their off-speed pitches down, and it's not near the amount of 2 seams that we used to see.
you don't see too many sinker ball pitchers anymore, hardly. Although, I don't know what it is. It seems like it'd be beneficial as many home runs as there are, but
You would think.
I guess the off-speed pitches, the slider is kind of similar, but
It's
not.
kind of like a lost art, you know what I mean? Just being able to pitch
Well,
it.
the cutter. The
cutter?
cutter's kind of
Yeah.
replaced the 2-seam, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yep.
Another good
Yeah.
high fastball. He got both of them out.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 runs in the top of the second for the gray team.
For the Storm.
Okay, that's
For
the storm. All right,
Yeah.
I got it right on there.
Yeah.
They're the Storm. The Savages are the blue team today. All right. Now we're visiting with head coach Alan Traylor here on the Southeastern Sports Network. Kids like this competition?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Anytime that you can get out and compete against somebody, that's what we try to do. Is we try to inter-squad at least 3 times a week, practice twice, and of course, depending on how our arms feel, depends on how many innings we go and all that. So, that's where a lot of our guys are going to get better, is playing the game. In-game reps, in-game opportunities, and we can stop it at any point during the inter-squad and kind of coach and teach it and, make sure everybody's in the right position and stuff. So we've got the control over that. But, there's an importance of practice, in those practice reps.
Drills and things.
Drills, yeah. But, nothing can replace the in-game, aspect of it when you get in the box and you're competing against somebody, and then you're on the mound and somebody's competing against you. Like, that's what I tell all my hitters and even the pitchers too. Like, you could have the best bullpen of your life, and if nobody's stepping in the box and competing, then like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're expected to throw everything for a strike because it's easy. Whenever things get hard, that's whenever I want to see what you're made of, what you can do.
After you get neck strain
That too.
as a pitcher.
That too.
It's harder.
Oh yeah.
from jerking your head around looking at the
Mm-hmm.
balls flying all over the place. That can happen. I think pitching's a hard job. I mean,
Oh, no doubt.
you're on an island.
No doubt.
When you're hitting, you've got even the best hitters, are going to make it out over half the time, even the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
And you got guys that can pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
Pitching, it's just you.
Just you. And that's what we try to express to our guys. Is like, you don't have to do it all yourself. I'm not asking you to go out there and strike everybody out. Just give your defense a chance and opportunity to make a play for you. And once they understand how good the defense is at the 4-year level, then they start realizing, okay, I don't have to overpower right here, and I can just get my ground ball or miss a barrel for a fly ball and get an out and move on.
It's just the mental aspect of it being out there.
Yes.
You make, even say you make a good pitch and it still gets hit.
Yes.
And then it's like you still got to be. It's kind of like, I would call it the cornerback mentality in football.
Mm-hmm.
You give up a big play, well, they're coming right back. You got to forget all about that and be ready for the next play.
Yes, sir.
But when you're out there all by yourself, I would say that's probably harder.
Oh, yeah. It makes it tougher. It makes it tougher, that's for sure. But whenever you start getting guys to understand it and believe in it and trust in it, that's whenever you see that the progression, the maturity part, Because that's the deal. Is like guys get so frustrated that the defense doesn't make a play, then they feel like, oh, well, I got to go and I got to be perfect right here because the guys behind me don't have my back or whatever, and then they leave it center cut, and then that ball really gets blasted.
Well, it's amazing in sports how much of it's about confidence. Because at every level, there's good players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even when you're a major leaguer, you can get down on you got to have a lot of confidence. And it just doesn't happen naturally. I mean, people that act overconfident, that's not good either.
Uh-huh.
You have to have, legit confidence.
Yep.
And, when your little voice in your head is telling you, that guy killed this last time I threw the slider, but you got to have confidence to throw it again.
Yeah. You can't not throw it. You got to throw it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess that's what a lot of times when you go out to the mound to talk to a pitcher, it's a little pep talk.
Most of the time.
Get their confidence up.
Most of the time. Slow things down. Maybe reinstill that confidence. Reassure them that, hey, just make a good pitch here. Let your defense work and let's go hit.
So this group of guys, you got quite a few new kids.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that probably worked out okay for you was you did a lot of the recruiting when Coach Crabtree was here, so you were probably already in the midst of that. So when you got the head job, you'd probably already been on a lot of guys. Did you do a lot of recruiting after that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know it's nonstop.
Yeah, it's nonstop, yeah. Well, it was a time that, as the process was going on,
kind of had to put it on hold.
I was still recruiting. I was still working because, that's the only thing you could do. The only thing you had to do, you know what I mean? You either work or you don't. If you don't, then you're for sure not getting a job, and you might not get a job anywhere else. So you just keep working. So, I was on a lot of guys. I was able to kind of convince some guys to hold on and wait until the situation got figured out here at Southeastern. And, I lost some guys during that period. There were some guys that, wanted to know and make their decision before then, which rightfully so. And then there were some guys that kind of wanted to wait and see it out and see it through. And, we got some of those guys. But, once I got the job, I hit the portal hard.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. That's one thing that's completely different than it was just a few years ago. the portal has changed everything at every level of college baseball. What do you think about the portal?
I understand it on the players aspect of it. I do. I think as a coach and recruiting guy, and it makes it tougher. I think now that they're going to put rules in place for the Division Ones. For the 34-man roster.
That's another big change.
Yeah.
That goes into effect next year.
I think next year.
Yeah. How's that going to affect the Division II? Do you think?
It's gonna make things a lot better. A lot better. I mean, baseball across the board is going to be better at every single level.
Let's explain for people that don't know. This rule's been proposed a couple months ago.
Yes.
Like basically there were 85. Let's talk about football because that's the one everybody loves. Division I football had 85 scholarships, but a lot of times, like OSU, OU, they'd have 140 guys on their roster. OSU baseball, I don't know. There might have been a limit too. I think they'd have like 45 or something like that on the team. Well, they changed the rules that go into effect next year. Like football is going to have 105 scholarships, and you're going, wow, that's 20 more than they had. But they can't have any more people on the roster. They have a maximum of 105. So all those walk-on guys that might be Division II players or JUCO players or whatever players. In baseball, it went from whatever amount they had, 45 or 50 to 34. They're now going to be at other schools.
Yes. So basically what it does is it forces those Division I coaches it puts a little bit more pressure on those guys to not miss on their guys because, a lot of you can go across the board. I mean, down here in the South is we recruit against these guys all the time, mid-majors. They're basically like hoarding players. They'll bring in 60, 70, 80 guys on a baseball roster, and it's like, why do you need that many guys, But, I mean, to each their own. But you can't hoard players really any more than what they were doing because,
they just got a limit. Yeah,
34 on the limit, and now guys who would walk on to a mid-major or wherever.
Well, in our area, it'd be places like North Texas or Stephen F. or Sam Houston or someplace like that.
Well, we recruit a lot. Like I said earlier, we recruit a lot out of Texas, and we lose a lot of guys to the Southland and the Sun Belt. Those are kind of the mid-major guys that we lose guys to all the time. So now instead of those guys, bringing in, 60, 70 guys, now they can't bring in those guys, and we get them because they have to maybe go D2.
Yeah, because they want to play.
Yeah, they want to play. I mean, what option do you have? You want to play? But that's my deal. My biggest deal is, like, I think there's a lot of people that have gotten away from playing. Like, you only have 4 years to play college baseball. A fifth if you redshirt or whatever. But, I mean, do you want to go to a mid-major and sit the bench where you could come in here and be a key player for us? You go to a mid-major and get, maybe 12 innings of work when you could play every single game for us. So, I mean, you just got to figure out what's important to the kid. Yeah.
That's your recruiting spiel.
Oh yeah. It's like, what's important to you? Do you want to play? Do you want to? What do you want to do? Is playing Division I that important?
And the example you can give them is all the guys you've had at D2 that went to Division I and didn't play or weren't unhappy for whatever reason and ended up coming back to D2, bounce back guys, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell them those stories, and then it's like, yeah, they came here and they had a good career and they were happy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell those guys now in recruiting, I mean, we had like Matt Miles that went to Oklahoma State that came here. Seth Morrow was a guy that
Wichita State.
Yeah. And even on this team, we've got, guys from Old Dominion, McNeese, Central Arkansas, Tarleton, just to name a couple. I'm probably missing one or two. But when you have those D1 guys that, go to a D1 and they don't play for whatever reason, very much or whatever, and they want to play. Like, okay, well, come on.
Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so in order to – is that just straight out of the portal usually?
Yeah, portal for the most part, and then the biggest recruiting tool, I guess, are the players. You know what I mean?
Knowing other guys.
Yeah, they know a guy that, hey, like this guy, I know this guy, he can help us. He didn't play, or this guy's looking to transfer or whatever. Guy's looking for an opportunity. Okay, well, tell him, come on.
Well, you hear all these stories about younger guys today and how different it is with texting and social media. And has that changed over the years how you approach recruiting?
I mean, technology. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I was telling, I was having a conversation with Coach Baxter back in the day. Whenever he was coaching football, how he used to recruit. He would go to a payphone and make a call.
Yep.
A payphone. Yep. And I'm like, that's wild to think that we were once there. You know what I mean? As a society. So
yeah. Well, Ray Richards, another guy that coached here and coached at the same time Coach Baxter did. He started off his career as a GA at Texas Tech, and his job on Saturday night after the game was over, he'd have to load up these films in a car and drive like 7 hours and trade them with somebody from another school and bring them back and get them ready for the next day when the full-time coaches came in to review the next opponent.
Wow.
Do
you imagine?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Imagine?
Oh, I can because I was there. That's just the way it was.
Well, Coach Baxter was
there was no huddle or anything like that back then.
He's like, I just pick up my phone and open up Twitter or my email, and there's guys that send me emails all the time.
Well, it's even crazier. I know the basketball coaches here, they look at a lot of – you probably don't do this much, but they see highlights of guys from overseas.
Overseas?
Yeah. I mean, international players just right there on their phone. In fact, Quinn – Coach Quinn was telling me he was in the Dollar General parking lot in Calera, and he got a call from Coach Green, said, hey, I want you to look at this highlight of this guy from Serbia or something. He's looking at – that was Ante, the really good – that ended up going. So, I mean, it's like – can be anywhere.
Hey, my wife.
Did she help you?
No, she doesn't help me, but she
tries to help.
It's almost like the same scenario as Quinn. I'm in a parking lot or I'm out to dinner and my phone goes off and I open it up and it's about recruiting or something, and my wife's like really? Right now? Really?
It's never ending.
It never ends.
It
never ends.
24/7.
It never ends.
Yep. She'll understand eventually.
Yeah. She does. She's awesome.
But
you can't.
So the timing of it is does it consume a lot of your time because of the technology?
Yes. Yeah. Because you're constantly on your phone, you're constantly checking, you're constantly texting back and forth between either recruits or players or coaches. You're just trying to follow up. Hey, this guy told me about this guy. Did anybody see him? I mean, it's crazy how much time that we invest on the phone trying to find players,
Well, it's better than driving, I guess.
Yeah.
I can remember, the rules had changed. I can remember Coach Matheny. I went to him to Ardmore. There was a summer baseball tournament going, and I don't know what the rules were back then, but he had to get a roster with all the teams on it because every one of those counted as like some kind of, in recruiting. You had to keep track of all of your times. Every player that played, he had to put on a list and turn into the NCAA or something just because he was there, contact or something like that, because he was watching the tournament. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah. I talk to compliance about this all the time. It's like, the NCAA's like giving the player more like leeway, more options, you know what I mean? And
they should probably.
Yeah, for sure. But coaching, like we have all these modules that we have to watch and tests that we have to pass and rules in place and stuff, which I'm not saying that I don't agree with it, you know what I mean? But it's like,
hey, you need a compliance guy, and then you just call him and say, hey, can I do this or not? You watched take all the courses. At a bigger school, I'm sure they do that.
Oh, no doubt, probably. Yep.
Yep. Well, the ball's not carrying as much today. It doesn't
Not
look
today. Brock Zimmer on the mountains, dealing, feeling good.
like. Tell us about him.
So Brock, Colleyville Heritage kid, ended up going down to Western Texas. He was a two-way guy at high school, and he had some opportunities to go 4-year, but he wanted to be a two-way, and being at the junior college level, they're a little bit more open to that idea. So he went down there, and after a year of being at Western Texas, he decided that his future is probably going to be on the mound, and ended up hanging it up on the offensive side, defensive side, and he was really good. Last year, I think he was top 10 in junior college in saves in the nation. So he threw a lot of big innings, good innings for Western Texas, and again he wanted to get on the field and play and be close to home, and it was a no-brainer for us.
Where's Western JUCO, Texas?
Western Texas is in Snyder, Texas.
Okay, that's out
By Lubbock.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
There's some new JUCOs around. I see these like Southern Arkansas, and well, no, that's always been there, but there's a couple new ones in Arkansas, like
there's
Mountain something.
Mountain Home
Yeah.
is one. You got SAU Tech. There's a couple that are popping up.
Which is weird because there weren't very many new JUCOs for a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Didn't change much.
Well, I think it's making it tougher for maybe the Arkansas schools to recruit, because before they had any junior colleges over there, they all just kind of walked on to the D2s and D1s or whatever. And
we were talking about that rule that's going to go into effect next year for Division I, where they have limits on how many players. That doesn't apply to Division II, does it?
No.
Is it possible in the future they could make some, you think? Because a lot of times they put these rules in effect in Division I, and then kind of like the pitch clock. Are we going to have one? Are we going to have a visible pitch clock this season?
Yes, sir.
Where's it going to be?
So I think we're going to have it. There's going to be two of them. One's going to be back here.
Like on the backstop?
On the backstop, yes, sir. And then there's talks that we're going to have another one to the right of the scoreboard in line with the trees out there. So that way it's visible.
And is it something the umpires trigger?
Yes.
So it's all Bluetooth? That's another thing about technology today.
Yeah. You need – I think it's good for the umpires to control it, because now you have a neutral person doing it. And if we're playing on the road somewhere – It could be home cooking for one
I
side.
I was watching a Major League game this summer, and the announcers were going, watch this. They don't start it for the home team as quick as they do for the visiting team.
Yeah. It's competitive advantage. I don't fault them, you know what I mean? But I'd much rather it be across the board in the umpire's hands than anyone else.
Yeah, that's changed a lot. Back in the NAI days, I'll tell you a funny story. So Morris Sloan was the head football coach. Do you know Morris?
I do not.
He coaches at Durant. He's the winningest coach in Southeastern football history. Coached in the 80s, late 80s and 90s. And anyway, we were playing over at Washita, and I think this was in 89. We had a good team. We had a really good running back. He led the nation in rushing. This was NAI. And Washita was coached by this guy named Buddy Benson. He'd been there like 25 years. Think about that. In 89, that means he started in the 60s. And so it was a close game. It shouldn't have been. In fact, Southeastern that year went 9-1 in football. And they ended up getting inside the 5 couple times and didn't score. But anyway, at the end of the game, Southeastern's ahead, and Washita comes back. And the calls just hadn't gone very much Southeastern's way that game. NAIA is a lot different than NCAA, but so there's a double reverse, and there's this giant crackback block that's blocking the back or holding or something that everybody in the stadium could see, but it was over in Arkadelphia. And everybody's going, and Morris runs to the ref and goes, "Hey, that was so, everybody saw that. You can't call that." And it was like a 20-yard game. He goes, "You don't know? Buddy's 0-3. He needs a win really bad. That's his brother-in-law as the referee back there. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Used to be the home team just hired the officials in NAI stuff. Kind of like high school.
Mm-hmm.
But even that's different now. They have lists, and it was just a little bit more Wild West stuff back then.
Right. You talk about a tough profession, too, umpiring. Ugh.
Well, think about it. It's one of the few deals where unless everybody's mad, you haven't done a good job.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If half are happy and half are mad, then you haven't done your job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like being a judge, but you can't just pound the gavel and say, hey, you're in contempt. Take them out of here.
Right.
Or
right.
I guess you can, but they rarely do. No, it's a thankless job, to be sure. And it's not easy.
No.
That's the funniest thing forever growing up. I heard that, well, the umpires get 99% of the calls right. Well, yeah, maybe if you count they threw him out at first by 10 feet. But when it comes to bang-bang plays, they don't get him any more right than flipping a coin.
Right.
And it's not their fault. I
Right.
mean, our senses just can't, since they've gone to this ultra slow-mo replay, they get reversed all the time because it's a crapshoot.
Right.
I mean, there's just no way to know on a bang-bang play. It's just basically they're guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the best they can do. It's not like, oh, you should have seen that. No, it's impossible to know on a bang-bang play. Oh, you can hear the ball hitting the mitt and watch the foot. No, it's impossible.
Right.
It just your senses aren't that fine enough to see on a bang-bang play.
Mm-hmm. How about this? How about a good little story? Good double play right there.
Yeah.
Would have scored a run right there, too.
Kind of had a high hop on it.
Mm-hmm. But good little story is for one of our inner squads, I just randomly choose somebody, either somebody that's hurt or a pitcher that's not throwing that day or something like that. And this particular day, it was a pitcher, and I said, hey, you got balls and strikes today. And he looked at me with deer in headlights, and I was like, hey, you'll be okay. Like, just go out there and call what you see. Like, it is what it is, not a big deal. And I told him, I was like, the reason why I do it, too, is because I want the zones to change every single time, because you're not going to have the same umpire out there each game.
It's probably a good experience for them, too, to watch it.
Yes. Hey, after the inner squad, he came up, and he was like, Coach, he goes, I will never complain about umpiring ever again. And I said, why is that? And he said, because it's a lot harder than what you actually think it is. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
It's way harder.
Yeah. You got to make a call and have some conviction with it,
instantaneously, and know all the rules. I mean, when you're doing the real job, you got to know all the rules. And there are some funky, kind of bizarro rules that don't come into play very often.
Mm-hmm. It's like even watching like the MLB and even NFL, like the fact that these umpires are able to see some things and get the call correct, even whenever they challenge, and it's withheld. You know what I mean? Like it's like, wow, like you guys are really good at.
So
your
what's
job.
amazing to me is since they've gone with pitch tracks the last 10 years, I've actually it makes me appreciate them more because they're right. They'll miss one here and there, really close, but that's fractional.
Yes.
But the good umpires, they're right 95% of the time. I mean, it's right even when it's close calls. Now there are some that aren't that good that don't get them all right, but it's amazing. I was watching a minor league game. I mean, not a major league game, but the umpire that was supposed to be calling balls and strikes had gotten sick. And they called up a guy from AAA, and he was terrible. I mean, like, I would say 30% of the calls he made were wrong. And both teams and the managers for both teams were just on his case the whole game, which they actually know. I mean, they know how good of a job they do, I think, most of them.
Well, everybody was pushing for the instant replay because they thought the umpires were so bad. And then after having the instant replay, you actually know that the umpires were pretty good.
I'm going to tell you a story. So way back in like the 80s, I think it was, in Europe, European soccer, they had a lot of violence in stadiums, and they passed a league-wide rule for all of Europe that they were going to play games with no crowd. And they played like a whole season or part of a season with no crowd. And this little old lady that lived in Spain kept results of every game. And when she passed away, her son donated it to a sports research university somewhere in Spain. And they started going through and crunching all these. And they calculated that the games when there was no crowd, the scores were different, that the home team wasn't benefited as much. And they actually did a bunch of research after that and came out, and it's been known for a while now, but that really the home field advantage that we used to see, but it's not as prevalent anymore, was the crowd influences the officials just because they're humans. And so those bang calls that are impossible to call probably go to the home team. Think about this in football. Think about if OU and Texas are playing at the Cotton Bowl 30 years ago, and it's a tie game, or Texas is ahead by 6, and OU dives for the goal line with 30 seconds to go, and the guy maybe crossed the plane, but the ball came out and Texas recovered. Texas ball game over. Now they'll review it and go, wait, no, it crossed the plane. It could change the outcome of the game. So replay actually has minimized home field advantage and a lot of other things like that. So why teams had an advantage wasn't really known before, but now we know. And who would have thought that? But I remember reading one NBA ump. He goes, hey, I know the home crowd influences me and my fellow officials, so I just call about 25% for the other team just to even it out. I'm not sure that's right either. But
I don't think so, but I understand it.
But just think in basketball, how many times you're making a judgment. I mean, baseball at home plate, but in basketball, how many times is there a block charge and, you know, did this or that, was he in position or blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whistle blows in basketball all the time. So you don't think – so have you ever been the head coach at any level?
I have not.
So do you think – I mean, right now, obviously all you can do is kind of guess, knowing yourself, that it'll change how you think about it during the game or act during the game or your personality, anything?
Yeah, you know, and I've kind of, I guess, been asked this a couple times. You know, I can go off of based, like, my personal experience, right? And
I mean, have you ever had to fill in when the coach got ejected or anything like that?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Was Zach? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Early. So did you find yourself thinking differently?
Yeah, I think you always have to put on a different hat and kind of think of it differently as a head coach. You know, I think being an assistant, you know, my job was kind of limited on certain areas, you know, and that was my job. And it was some of the other coaches, their job to kind of worry about some other stuff, right? But, you know, in this role now, I have to think about everything. I have to plan for everything. So
big picture. The
big picture, yes, sir. And you know, it like, if you're not structured, organized, you can get, like, so far behind, and everything can just spiral out of control. So, you know, it's really kind of made me, like, really sit down and kind of plan a lot of stuff out and kind of think. It's more of the well-being of the athlete, you know what I mean? Like, what's best for the team, what's best for this guy, what's best for this situation or whatever, you know? So just being able to kind of think through some stuff and you know, like I was going to say is I always felt whenever I played for a few guys that were just, like, so even keel.
Did you appreciate that as a player?
Yeah, because I really felt like I could be myself and I could get out there and play and not have extra pressure, or I felt like, you know, I wasn't playing tight. I can just get out there and play and not be worried about making a mistake or getting getting pulled or whatever the case is. Like, as long as the effort was there, then the head coach it didn't matter. You know what I mean? For the most part, But if I wasn't playing to my best of my ability and the body language wasn't very good, then yeah, they would make a change, and rightfully so. But just like the game of baseball is so hard to play anyways, as it is. So, like, I think for us as coaches, like, we don't need to make it harder on the player, and I know
kind of make it easier. That would be the goal.
You try to, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you do that? I think you have different ways to do it in practice, in game. But I remember, this is a story that I tell all the time. Is like, I played for Bobby Cox at Oklahoma Baptist.
Yeah, legend.
And
not the legend,
not
like
the one,
Matheny,
but a legend.
A legend,
yes. And
Coach Matheny would get mad at us.
for sure. I'm not calling him the legend. That's only one dog, But we were in the World Series, and our team was down. I think it was like 4-2, and we had bases loaded. Find a way to get me up, and I ended up hitting a grand slam in the World Series to put us up by 2.
Who was that against? Do you remember?
Concordia.
Where was that?
Lewiston, Idaho.
Oh yeah.
It was back when OBU was still NAIA.
And Lewis and Clark got to host.
Yes.
I've actually been there for a World Series.
So ended up putting our team up by 2, bottom of the 7th. I'm fired up. All the guys are fired up, right? And I get to the dugout, and I'm trying to give all the coaches high fives, and I come to Bobby Cox, and I try to give him a high five, and it's a good read. And Bobby Cox didn't give me a high five, and I thought it was a little weird, and all he said was, "That a boy, Trailer, that a boy."
You know what that reminds me of? You ever seen the movie Babe?
Yeah.
At the end,
Mm-hmm.
the farmer who never talks,
Mm-hmm.
he goes, what does he say? He goes, that, I think he says, "That a boy."
That a boy.
To
or
the pig. That's
something.
all he says.
Yeah.
No, he says, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Yeah.
That's all he says, and
Yeah.
the crowd's going crazy, and that's a great scene where it's deathly silence because here's this pig and these sheep are marching over here, and then they're marching over here, and then the pig walks over by him, and the crowd goes, "Ah," and they hold up their tins, and he goes, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Yep.
I love that line.
Yep.
But that's very similar to what the story you just told.
I mean, it's just in the course of a game, you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. It's going to be tough. Being able to manage like all the emotions of a baseball game in a 9-inning game, right? So, I think a lot of the guys kind of feed off the head guy, and if you're, a roller coaster with some emotion, highs and lows, then that's what your team's going to be. So, my goal for myself is to stay in the moment, stay level-headed, stay under control, calm during the game. Now, that's what I've got planned now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But come February, March, even in the conference, I mean, that may change. But I mean, I think there's something.
But you don't
to be said
mind if
about
they
that.
celebrate?
No,
like crazy.
no, absolutely not. Like, let the boys be boys. You know what I mean? Like, let them have fun. Let them, create an identity, for themselves, right? And that's, I think, how cultures are built. And I think if you have fun playing this game, you're gonna get better. You're gonna progress. You're gonna develop, right?
Well, not only that, but in the big picture, winning is great, and that's the goal.
Right.
But like Coach Green in basketball always says, well, then we'll ask him about some strategy or something. He goes, you got to remember, the other team is doing everything they can to win the game too.
Yes.
They're strategizing and bringing out different, zone defenses or whatever. They're doing everything in their power to win too. So it's not like you're out there against zombies that aren't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing about competition, to be really good. And that's another thing about types of players you recruit, finding guys that are competitive by nature. And that, can you measure that? Can you tell that?
I think the resilience, I guess, going and watching a kid and seeing how he reacts to a lot of things. I think in recruiting too, just the talks that we have with the student athlete, I think you kind of get to know, some guys. I think there's some guys, Savages are going to put this game away early. I think you miss on some guys, but you try to figure out everything you can figure out in an individual before you sign the dotted line, if you will.
Well, there's a couple of things I've heard other coaches. I like to listen to coaches and things they say. One of them is that the hay's already in the barn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Grover?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grover uses that all the time.
Because actually, when the game starts, your job's kind of already done.
Yeah. What do you do? You just almost just manage the game, basically. You know what I mean?
And then the other one is on recruiting specifically. He thinks that all coaches everywhere, no matter how good you are, hit about 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 50-50 on hitting. And I'm not talking about a superstar. I'm just talking about a player that's competitive at this level that can contribute. And it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. It's all about the same. You hit on 50-50. You just hope that – and he's learned a hard lesson about that too these last few years, because I think this might be the hardest part of coaching. Because, not everybody – you've got to make changes from year to year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of like when they have NFL cut down. I would hate to be the coach, a guy coming in. I remember the movie Major League where if you got the red card in your locker, and then, no, that was death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the hardest part. I think.
Like we talked about this the other day what's that movie? Moneyball.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever Jonah Hill sits down and he doesn't know how to cut the player, and he says, you're a good player, here's the contact of X person, and see you later.
Yeah.
You always think it's like more than what it actually is.
Well, look at, what's his first name? Saleh, the coach of the Jets.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They actually had security come in, and I was listening to these guys talking, they've never heard of this before. He had to get his stuff, and they escorted him out of the facility.
Wow.
The head coach.
The head coach.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's some parts of that. But what I was going to say, too, is if you look at the big picture of things, you got to remember something. No matter whether you win or lose, the things that's important and the things that people remember are the relationships.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
And just the experiences. Yeah, if you win, it might be a little bit better, but it doesn't really make it that much difference 30 years later. It's the relationships that you grow while you're together. And this is an important time for young men,
Mm-hmm.
The thing I always loved about team sports, and I remember reading this article a long time ago about how when kids grow up, it's all they know is what their immediate wants and needs when you're like an infant.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they get a little bit older, it's still kind of that way.
Mm-hmm.
But when you play team sports, it's the first time you ever experience kind of sacrifice. Well, I want to be the quarterback, or I want to go get the quarterback, or I want to be the shortstop or the pitcher, where you kind of have to learn to sacrifice for the group. And you learn how to interact with other people and work together. And that's kind of the whole thing about a team game is how you succeed or don't succeed is the whole group.
The group, yes.
So you've got and that's part of the coach's job, I think, is to get everybody kind of on the same page.
Yes,
and that's
absolutely.
it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you look out here and all these guys playing right here.
And you got so many different varied backgrounds and experiences, and you got to get them all on the same.
And some kids
working the same direction, pulling in the same direction.
You got some kids that react differently to different styles of coaching, and you got to figure that out really quick. You know what I mean? Like this guy is real old school. Like you can get onto him and get him going. But
it might
this
work.
Kid, he'll shut down. You know, if you.
Well,
I
think
that's
probably, tell me if I'm wrong, that's one of the biggest changes in coaching styles. Is a long time ago, it was just one way.
Oh, yeah.
My way or the highway.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like, you can't treat everybody exactly the same. It just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. Yep. But, I mean, everybody out here on the field right here is probably at one point the best player on their team.
Exactly.
You know, and then everybody was their starting shortstop or starting pitcher or starting, you know, quarterback or something like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Panic.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
I've always thought this and remember this from a long time ago. What's the pitcher's name?
This is Luke Johnson.
He should just run at him because he stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, if he's getting close to the base, you got to throw it. But if
you
just keep running straight at him,
Right.
and make him commit,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to see if I had that right.
Yeah, make him commit either way, and as soon as he goes to second, then give it up.
Yeah.
And what we tell our guys is we want him out or safe at first base, the bag that he came from. So that runner came from first. You want to run him back all the way. What the second baseman should have done, or shortstop, whoever got it, I think it was the second base, what he should have done is just go get that guy right now and don't even worry about giving it up or relaying it home. If you can get that out, that would have been the third out, and the guy doesn't score, so
Right,
it doesn't
doesn't
matter.
count.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You have to go get that guy now.
Yep.
So, but that's a teaching point that obviously we will make the next practice that we have either tomorrow or Monday. So.
And again, you have so many different varied backgrounds. You don't know what the guy knew
Yeah.
or didn't know.
Yeah. What's being taught? Yeah, you have all these players from different programs, so you don't know what they were teaching, what their philosophy was, and it is very difficult whenever you have guys that transfer in from junior college. You have them for 2 years, maybe 2 years. It depends on if they decide to jump in the portal or not. And then you have these 4-year guys that transfer in. So what was taught? What was an important, what was of importance to that last program that they're coming from? So
Do you like that fact that you've got a bunch of different backgrounds and
yes and no,
you get an opportunity to teach a little?
Yeah, you get to teach a little bit, and then you can also learn something from the kids too. Like in conversation, you say, "Hey, coach, like where I came from, we did this." And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe we look to make that change or do something different, or, hey, like I understand you did it at XYZ. We're going to do it this way here,
So, younger guys today, do you think that they're about the same as they were when you were their age, as far as what's important to them? You think it's changed? Society has changed.
I think it's changed a little bit. I do. And again, whenever I was playing, like I wanted to play Division I. I mean, that hasn't changed. But I don't think today there wasn't that many people telling me, hey, like you're a D1 guy, you're a D1 guy. Like everybody was just telling me, go somewhere where you're going to play and develop. And I think now today, everybody's just trying to push everybody to go play Division I, and it's more like I think it's more what the kid is seeing on social media. Well, This guy committed to this school. I'm better than him. If he can play there, I can play somewhere else. Like, well, you don't know that circumstance. He might know somebody that you don't that got him on that team. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
There's different circumstances to do it, and like make a decision based off of what your needs are and what you feel like, not, what you see on social media. And I think that's a lot of guys see.
And another thing, I think that's a fact, social media, but every game is televised now.
Yeah.
You can watch Alabama Birmingham play a baseball game against whoever, on some channel, on some cable somewhere, or streaming service.
Right.
Which I'm not saying that's bad, but they can watch all that and say, hey, that looks like a cool place.
Yeah.
Back when, okay, I'll give you an example. This is so long ago. This is really dating things. Now, I wasn't around then, but James Spivey was a 3-time All-American basketball player at Southeastern.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the NAIA Hall of Fame. He's from Bray, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Good play.
Very good.
Good play.
You know where Bray is?
I do not.
It's over by Duncan.
Duncan. Okay.
It's close, Marlowe, Duncan area, okay?
Uh-huh.
So when he came to Southeastern and Bloomer Sullivan was kind of at the peak of his coaching then, that was a big deal from a little town. I mean, the townsfolk, they all knew about it. Oh, he's going to Southeastern. What a big deal. Oh, yeah. They might have had a parade for him. I don't know. But, I mean, nowadays, nobody even thinks anything about that. It's just not the same. I mean, because back then, nobody from Bray went to,
anywhere,
Lehigh
probably.
in Pennsylvania or University of San Francisco or whatever. Like now, you can go anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, like the guy that's playing a lot quarterback, Sergio Perez for Southeastern. He's from Garland. He went to North Dakota University or South Dakota University.
Okay.
Out of high school. I mean, that never happened 30, 40 years ago. It was like a lot more regionalized,
right,
I guess
right.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going back on Coach Baxter's experience, that we were talking about. He would get in the car and drive. There's no way South Dakota back in the day was probably driving down to Texas.
They never got any players from down here.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Matheny for a long time had this recruiting philosophy of recruiting the southeastern quadrant of Oklahoma, he called it. I-35 and 40 kind of divides the states into 4 sections. Well, this part of the state, a lot of the small schools don't play football, so they have fall baseball.
Fall baseball.
So those guys are going to be further along in their development than guys from other parts of the state.
Yep.
But that's all changed. Now those guys go all over the place.
Yeah, and people play baseball year-round now as opposed to what it used to be. There was an advantage back in the day when, small school Oklahoma kids were playing just baseball, and everybody else was either in off-season or playing basketball or something.
You think that's good? You think you can overdo it?
I think you can overdo it for sure. I mean, my biggest deal is, it's the way I parent my 4-year-old son is, if he wants to go play baseball, then go play baseball. Come on, we'll go. If he doesn't want to do it, then we're not going to do it. If he wants to go fish, then we're going to go fish. And like whatever he wants to do and what is fun for him. As long as he's having fun, then that's what we're going to do. Just because I'm a baseball coach doesn't mean that he has to be good or has to play baseball. It's whatever he wants, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm not going to push it on my kid. If it's important to him, then it's important to me. You know what I mean? And that might be a little bit different from some people, too.
But I actually think years ago it would be way more common for a guy to play football, basketball, and baseball. I actually think that was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It developed different types of skills.
Absolutely.
And then they would hone in on the one that they were best at when they got closer to being in college.
Right.
And it just, I don't know. Now it's just you get specialized. You do one thing and you do it over and over and over, and you play 100 games a year.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think there can be burnout.
Yes, burnout. And in a conversation I have with our guys is like, you grew up playing 100 baseball games in a year, okay? Like, in these tournaments that you go to, you're like, win or lose, you got another game. There's another game.
Yeah.
There's always another game, right? And then that's like the conversation we have is like, fellas, like, there's not another game. Like, this is the game. Like, we have to win this game. Like, we don't have that mindset that, oh, you know what, we lost this game. Well, you know what, there's another game, you know? Like,
or another league or another season starting here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Or if you don't, I don't. There's a lot of things that I kind of disagree with, I guess. I am pro.
Well, we were talking about Coach
sports.
Grover. He actually told me that he thinks that players would be, instead of just playing on some random AAU team all summer, they'd be better off just working on skills all summer and not playing so many, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
And you could develop
There's some value in that.
You can develop bad habits playing, kind of holly-gully or whatever you want to call it.
Hey, you know what I miss? I miss back in the day, there wasn't, the travel league as what it is now. But it was,
Legions.
It was Legion.
Yeah,
it
we
was
had-
my hometown versus
I helped
that
the Legion
hometown.
for several summers here, and you know what was great about that? We never charged anybody anything.
Really?
So we had kids from Caney, and Zach played on our Legion
Did
team.
he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it would be guys from right around here. In fact, they had rules. You could only recruit from schools
Certain, yeah.
right around this
Yep,
area.
Yep.
And that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I missed that because it was like it always felt like it was like it meant something.
Now they
you
end
know?
up paying lots of money to
Oh,
play
yeah.
on these things. I read an article years ago about a guy in McKinney spent over $100,000 for his kid during the 12 years when he was growing up playing on travel squads and all this. He pointed out, and he got a scholarship to JUCO that was worth about, like $15,000.
Oh yeah. Yep. Why don't you invest that money and save it?
Exactly. But again, his kid probably wanted to play, so
For sure.
he was doing everything. That's a hard thing as a parent,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, things have changed because when I was a kid, I remember my brother wanted to play Little League Baseball when we lived in Tulsa. This was way back probably in the 60s.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford for both of us to play because you had to pay a fee to Tulsa. So I let him play.
Yeah. That was nice of you.
I know, but you don't see those kind of tough decisions you have to make in today's world
No.
very much.
No.
We're fortunate, though.
Yeah.
We're fortunate as a country
Yeah, to have
and a
options.
society that
Yeah.
you get to do. I mean,
Right.
I look at it like this. You talk about a great country. My whole life, I've been able to live wherever I wanted to, work at any job I wanted to, associate with whoever I wanted to. Haven't had to go in the military, which is fortunate. I was a little bit too young for Vietnam, and now it's mostly volunteer. But I can remember my mom watching TV. They used to put the roll numbers on the nightly news.
Really?
Yeah, and it was based on your birthday.
Yeah.
And somehow you could look at that list and know if you had a good chance of being drafted. And my mom was just like all nervous
yeah.
and everything when I was
yeah.
like 8 years old. And
Oh yeah.
fortunately, they stopped all that by the time I got old enough. But so, we have so many freedoms that we take them all for granted.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we shouldn't, but we do. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
natural to do that. But every once in a while, you got to remind yourself that we're lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple things that make the United States great. I mean, there's all different types of governments. I'm not going to go into that, but we have the longest unguarded border in the world between us and Canada. And in North and South America, they had this thing called the Monroe Doctrine that was signed in like the early 1800s where countries don't attack each other. And so, I mean, really, there hasn't been any inter-country wars very often. There's been civil wars and things like that. And we have the two biggest oceans on either side of us. So that's a good natural defense.
Yep.
And we have good relations with Canada and Mexico. So, hey, America's a great place.
Pretty good. It's a pretty good spot.
Could things be a little bit better? Yeah, you can always do better. I mean, hey, if you don't win the World Series in Division II college baseball, the only one that doesn't have to worry about improvement is the team that won, right?
Yep.
Everybody else has to get a little better.
Yep.
So in your career of playing and coaching, you talked about playing in the World Series. Was that the high water mark of your playing and coaching days? Have you ever been in a championship type game?
Yeah. Growing up, playing for championships here and there or whatever.
State, how did Dumas do?
Yeah, it wasn't very good. We were just okay. I always thought I was a bigger fish, growing up. But
Well, tell us about that. Is your family an athletic family?
yeah. Dad played. He played everything.
So how far did he go? Did he go into
He
college?
went to junior college, and then
What JUCO?
I think it was like Brookhaven
Oh,
or Eastfield. I think it was Eastfield in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and And then all of a sudden, Grandpa, he bought a business, and my dad ended up going back home and helping him. So my dad's career was done at that point.
What about Grandpa? Was he an athlete?
Oh no,
Nope.
no. Grandpa, he worked. That was all he knew was work. So,
What about on your mom's side?
no, Grandpa was the same. He was work, no play basically, and it just grew up in a different time. I think, Dad, he wanted something better for us. Me and my two brothers, and good play, good decision. And he didn't put as much emphasis on working on me and my brothers as long as we were playing and working towards something athletically. So, always involved.
It just kind of depends on what your definition of work is, too. All that work paid off because it's now your career.
Yeah. Yep.
So you've got a brother?
I got two younger brothers.
So how were they athletically? Did they play?
Oh, my brother played football. He was really good at football. He's an offensive lineman. He looks nothing like me. I'm short and stocky, and he's tall and really, really big.
So
he's
how
like
far did his
6'4",
career go?
6'5". He played just Division II football, and then he had chances to go play like arena, but he chose not to. He wanted to get married and move on from that, which I think was probably a good decision because, being a lineman, you take a beating in his knees and stuff like that. So, and then my youngest brother, he played baseball primarily, and he tried to play at the collegiate level, and he found himself getting passed up. So he didn't finish playing college. I think he spent like maybe a year or two in college, and that was it. So, but
where do your brothers live?
So the football, good swim move. The football brother lives in Oklahoma City, and then my youngest brother lives in Borger, Texas.
Way out there still.
Yeah, Borger.
You have other than him, you have any family left out there?
Mom and dad, aunts, uncles.
They all live out there?
They all live out there on my dad's
so
side.
So what's the trailer family story of how you ended up there in the Panhandle?
As far as I remember, just my dad's side was always out there. My mom grew up in Dallas. Oh. Pass balls.
Yep.
Yeah. Mom's side was always in Dallas, and dad was always out in West Texas.
So there's no famous story of, out on the wagon trail and
that I know
fighting
of.
the Indians?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
If there is, it's not as exciting as that.
I'll tell you a good story on that and my family. My family actually participated in the land runs in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And so my grandpa had a wheat farm in northern Oklahoma, and so I guess his dad did too. So when my grandpa was a little bitty kid, they lived on a wheat farm in northern Oklahoma, and there was this place called the 101 Ranch.
Uh-huh.
You ever heard of that?
Uh-uh.
It's kind of famous way up in the northern part of the state. It's 101 sections, which a section is a square mile.
Right.
So 101 square miles of this ranch, and it was back way in the early 1900s. Dang, that is smashed. But
Yep.
got under it just a little.
Tony's been seeing the ball really well this fall. He's having a really good fall.
So my grandpa's a little boy, like 3 or 4, and him and his dad are riding in a wagon, and they had to go across this 101 ranch where the road to town went. And I guess my great-grandfather had gotten some kind of a job. The government, the federal government, was like keeping these gates open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were battling with the cowboys back then, kind of did what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're riding along. They'd left the gate open, and this one lone cowboy rides up to him. This is probably in like 1909 or something like that. And he goes, "Hey, did you leave that gate open?" And he went, "Yes, sir." And he said, "If that little boy wasn't with you, I'd kill you right now. Don't do that again."
Oh.
And they believed him. Because they didn't want the cows getting out, but the federal government was saying this is a public road, now, and
Right.
Yeah, times were, again, we forget about how good we have it nowadays.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary on the Earps, and there was this thing called the Cowboy. The Cowboys were kind of like a mob organization, and they would go to Mexico and steal cattle and come back and sell them, and they'd rob stagecoaches, and they were just kind of like this criminal organization, and they got in. That's the famous OK Corral, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
This documentary was about that. It was about just how easily people killed one another back then,
Yeah.
and how dangerous it was. They said your odds of dying in the Arizona Territory, this was in 1881, were 33 times higher than any other part of the country when this was going
The
on.
Wild West.
Yep.
Anything goes.
What's funny about the whole story, it's a really interesting documentary. Ed Harris, the actor, is the narrator, and there's a lot more involved in it. It actually gets into national politics, North and South. It was only 15 years after the war ended, and the Cowboy side were still Confederates, kind of, that had fought. The Earps had fought on the North side, and it was still this animosity, and it riled up, national politics. And at the end, Wyatt ends up surviving and moves to California. And when he's really old, he lives into the 70s. He kind of jump starts this. He goes and gets their filmmaking. Is starting in California, and he goes and consults on the first westerns.
Yep.
And a lot of the way westerns are made are very similar to the whole story about the shootout and how all that took place. It's funny, that could be how we got western movies, from reality.
Reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it kind of really was. I mean, think if you're a farmer and some big landowner wants your land, who do you call? Well, you didn't have a phone, but what do? You
What do you do?
You got to defend yourself. That's where handguns got to be popular, because you had to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're lucky in today's world.
Tell you what, wheels kind of fell off for the team over here.
Yep.
For the Storm.
Just a few little things. That's the other thing about sports that's crazy. It's just a few little things a lot of times can determine.
Make or break.
Yeah. Even you look at the score and you go 9-0, you go, oh, well, no. But actually, sometimes it's just a few little things that open the floodgates.
Yep. Keep innings going. Give the offense more opportunities.
It's kind of like I used to hear this a lot, like a 2-1 pitch that's really close and gets called a ball. Well, if it's a strike, it can change everything about that at bat. And maybe the guy hits a 3-run homer, or he gets a double, or whatever. Maybe he wouldn't have if that really close pitch was called a strike. It's that narrow of a difference sometimes.
And of course, if you look at the percentages of batting average from count to count, I mean, it makes a difference.
Oh no, there's a huge difference.
From 3-1 to maybe 2-2.
Just get the first pitch in.
Yep.
Okay, so you were a hitter, and I've got a cheap, not that great of a curve, but I can throw it for a strike. If I throw it for a strike on the first pitch, you're not going to swing, are you?
No.
So I don't know why more pitchers don't do that, but you got to throw it for a strike. You have to.
Yeah.
It don't have to be a good pitch.
No. Nope. Just get me over.
Yep, that's what you call it, a get me over curve, because no batter is going to be sitting on a curveball on the first pitch.
You wouldn't think so.
And not only that, but you're just so geared up when you get in the box that when you see that slow thing coming up there, you're just not going to swing.
Yep.
You're going to take it and go. Unless it's happened over and it's your third at bat, and now you're sitting on it, and you're going to hit it 500 feet.
Right.
because I think I have seen that happen before.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting, the philosophy of sports. But so one of the things that baseball, just by its very nature, even at our level where we don't play 162 games, but we still play, 33 conference games and 50-something games overall. It's consistency over and over and over and over and over, right?
Yes.
That's important. And maintaining that consistency, how do you get to that, I guess, is the question.
That's a good question.
I mean, yeah, it's a $64 million question.
Yeah. I think you have to have a lot of, like, luck kind of go your way.
Yep.
You know, the way the ball rolls. You know what I mean? It's almost like last year. You know what I mean? Like, how many games, we fell short of.
One-run games. Yeah.
One-run games, two-run games. You know what I mean? And I think after a while of those compiling on you, your confidence is gone. You're just, but if you flip it around and you have those games go your way, what does that do to your confidence?
You just automatically assume, we kicked butt there.
Yep. Like
we won.
Yep. You just always believe that you're in every single game, and no matter what happens, you're going to have a chance to win it at the very end.
You know what's funny about chance? I don't know if you've ever read up on this, but for a long time I always heard the good teams learn how to win close games.
Yep.
That's not true.
Yeah.
It is not true. Now, it's a little bit harder to compare in college because of, unless you just look at conference games only where everybody plays the same opponents.
Mm-hmm.
But in the majors, it's really easy to measure because they're all playing the same schedule basically. What happens is the good teams don't tend to win more close games. They win more blowouts. They don't have as many close games a lot of times.
Gotcha.
They don't get blown out very often. They might have the same number of close games or fewer, but they blow out the other team more often. And so they're not in that stressful situation as often.
Right.
Where you're a mediocre team, you have a whole bunch of close games. And so pretty much what it boils down to, I told Zach this last year when we had all those one-run games. Really, and I know it doesn't do any good when you're experiencing it, but it's really boils down to chance.
Chance.
In close games.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good or bad you are, it boils down to chance in close games. It's just a weird thing because as athletes and as competitors, you think, oh no, I make a difference and chance doesn't have anything to do with it. But usually they even out. Sometimes not in the course of a season, but over 2 or 3 seasons they even out.
Right.
You'll have a good year in one-run games, and then maybe the next year you're not as good in one.
Right.
But it's just fluky things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the other thing, I think this is really important too, and you can explain how you feel about it. The key to being successful is and I don't know how you instill this, but you've got to keep fighting.
Yes.
You have to fight the whole time no matter what.
Yep.
And I think, is that hard to get younger players to
absolutely
buy into that? Why do you think that is?
I think it's easy to, throw in the towel and whenever things aren't – I tell these guys, like, don't sit around looking for a crutch. When things don't go your way, you're looking to blame somebody else or something, either the umpire, the conditions, or whatever the case is, Like, you're not going to lean on a crutch and start making excuses. And I think that's human nature. Whenever things don't go your way, you're always looking for some excuse. Or throw in the towel, or just give up, or maybe even it's the mindset that I said a minute ago when, you constantly playing game after game after game after game. You feel like, oh, well, like, no big deal. We lost this one. We got another game next. Well, yes, but no, like this game still matters. You know what I mean? So, I think it's more, getting the mentality right with the team is like, hey, like we're like, this is who we are as an identity, as a program, and I tell our guys, like, we're savages, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to stop. We're going to be relentless. We're going to keep coming no matter if we're up, down, Like our job is to keep, scoring runs and prevent the other team from scoring runs, right? So,
Right.
like it's our job to do that, and it's the other team's job to stop us or to hold us or whatever the case is, right? So, like it's not our fault. Like we're gonna keep coming, So, I think it's instilling that identity, that mentality that we're not gonna throw in a towel. Like we're gonna keep going, And I think it ultimately it starts and ends with me,
Yep.
So I think
There's no question about that, and,
Yeah.
and it's not how you. I mean, there's so many famous cliches about it's not how you react when things are going good. It's how do you react when things aren't going your way.
Yeah,
That's the key to character.
yeah.
And
What happens when things don't go your way?
yeah,
Because there's going to be things that don't go your way all the time in this game.
fight harder.
Yep.
That's all you can do, really.
That's all you can do.
You can
is just
give
keep
up
going.
or fight harder.
Yeah.
Two choices.
Yep. Just keep going. See what happens. I've been on both ends of it where, like, you have a big lead and the other team comes back, and then you're down a lot, and at the end of the game, you're right in there,
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen.
And I mean, there's a lot of nuances to that. Like if you're playing the first game of a series and you're behind 6-1 going into the last inning, if you start hitting the ball and get 2 or 3 runs, even though you lost that game, you might have some carryover to
Yes.
the next day.
A little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum, feel good about yourself going into the next day a little bit.
I mean, that's why you got to always fight.
Yeah. I tell the guys, too, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, baseball games are so long.
Yep.
So many ups and downs in the games.
It's like the baseball games in 2 different games. You have in a 9-inning game, you're going to have your innings 1 through 6, and then that's 1. And then you're going to have the 7, 8, 9 all together in, the second tier. So, yes, 1 through 6 matters, but it doesn't matter as much as what 7, 8, 9 does.
But baseball is so interesting, too, because it's like, okay, I'm batting with 2 outs and nobody on here in the 5th inning, blah, blah, blah. What difference does it make? What happens?
Mm-hmm.
But if you make the pitcher throw some extra pitches or get on base, maybe a different guy leads off the next inning or, a key hitter comes up the next inning in a certain situation. I mean, you never know.
Never know. Never know. Just keep playing. Keep playing hard.
But as a hitter, you kind of have to be relaxed, right, to hit?
Yes.
Dang, that was smoked.
Team Savage is feeling it today.
That was good. Good cutoff.
Hey, do a job here, Wes.
So for your fall, this is close to the end of the allotted time for fall practice.
The
You got
team
much-
portion of it?
Yeah, you
Yes,
got
sir.
much left.
No, we've got next week. Next
That's
week,
it.
and we're done. Team practice. Yes,
Have you
sir.
decided about the next games yet?
Yeah, I think we're going to go. The issue is we've been trying to figure out. We got one more outside competition.
A
And
week.
that's-
It's next. A week.
That's
going to
be. No, we actually moved it. It's Thursday.
Okay, Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday here against Murray State. They had it on a different schedule, so we're going to play Thursday here. So we'll probably go Game 3 of the World Series next Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, next Monday for
At
sure.
what time?
Probably 2:30.
2:30, same
Yep.
time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll go with that unless I hear different. Game 3.
Game 3. Yep, we're just about done with team, and we'll start our focus in the weight room. Try to change some bodies.
And then right after Christmas, you come back and start getting ready for the season.
Yes, sir.
When it might actually be cold. I don't know if it's ever going to get cold again.
I looked at the forecast because I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to put out my rye, and I think it's supposed to, the first freeze is supposed to be November 23rd.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's the first freeze.
That's got to be some kind of record. I noticed you got a big pile of sand out there in the parking lot. You're going to sand the grass out there? What are you going to do with all that?
Yeah, we're going to aerate it all, and then
as soon as your team portion's over. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir. As soon as team's done and we're off the field, then we'll aerate it. We'll put some sand down, put some rye down, and
do you enjoy that part of the job?
it's therapeutic. It's therapeutic. You know, getting out there and being able to
so
work
when
on
you're
the field.
just when you're riding around on the mower for hours, does your mind tend to come up with some good ideas?
Oh yeah.
A lot of times it's weird when your mind is in neutral is when you get your best ideas.
I tell you this, a piece of advice, and this individual gave me a lot of advice in, I guess, 2 years that I worked with them here at Southeastern, as a matter of fact. Pete from last year's staff.
Yeah.
Pete told me, he said, whenever I got the job, he said, hey, man, I'm telling you, some of the best advice that I can give you is have a notepad and a pen.
So you can write them down?
Yeah, write everything down. And then even in the middle of the night, like, because you're going to wake up and your mind's going to wander.
You know when one of the best times is? When you're taking a shower.
Shower?
Yeah. I don't know why. You're just sitting there thinking about nothing, and your mind goes, oh.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, as a matter of fact, I've had it a couple times when I've not been able to sleep because I'm thinking about other things, and I'll get out that piece of paper and jot down some ideas.
Well, that's good.
I always write everything down. You know what I mean? Everything down.
There's a benefit to writing.
Mm-hmm.
Although now I find myself emailing myself a lot of times, reminders.
Yeah.
So, are we playing a true best of 5?
Yeah, we're going to try to if we can.
Okay. So if it's not ended on Monday, what kind of schedule? Are you going the next week after that?
We'll probably have to go Tuesday and then
the next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With it being 7 innings and we've got our pitchers on pitch counts and stuff like that, I think we'll be all right.
For Thursday?
Thursday, yeah. So we'll try to get ahead some way, somehow, and then we'll play them on Thursday, and then
if necessary,
Game 5 will probably be maybe Friday or something like that. So
the day after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't know this, but the NCAA mandates all these time frames and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dates you have to be through with
rules,
organized practice. Yeah.
Yep. And then you can go, into your small group portion.
Yeah.
So different time frame, different periods of the fall, to be able to kind of work on different things. And what we try to do is we try to get team as soon, like really, I guess after Labor Day, we start team. So that way we can get it in and get it done with, and if there's anybody that's banged up, they have plenty of time to get healthy, and from October until, January, February, whenever we open up. And then also, too, we can focus on getting in the weight room and getting big, strong, physical. Many different ways to do it, but that's that's the route that we basically kind of chose for this fall. So
I was looking at your schedule. You don't know for sure. You play February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Edmond, right?
yes.
Don't know yet who you're going to play?
Yeah, actually we do. We
Okay.
do. Yeah. We'll open up game 1 of the year against Emporia at 6:30 at UCO at their little festival. And then game 2 will be the 2nd, and that will be against Central Oklahoma, UCO, at 6:30. And then game 3 on the 3rd will be against NSU, Northeastern.
Oh, well, you get to play them 3 times.
3 times this year. Yep.
You got a home series with Arkansas, Fort Smith.
Fort Smith the next weekend, yes sir. 3 games. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I tell you what, I really, really, really like single 9-inning games.
Really?
Those doubleheader days are tough.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to have a few in conference play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You open up on the road at Washita.
Yep.
That's a fun
Washita.
place to go play, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. Their facilities have gotten better. So it's I think it's better than what it used to be for sure. You know what I mean?
Well, it's definitely anytime you go to Arkansas, just about everywhere is tough.
Oh yeah.
There's not any easy spots I can think of. And
No, the GAC is competitive. Stayed on there. Peyton Poole playing first base. He's been out pretty much all fall. It's like the first day he was swinging, he felt some strain in his forearm, hand, or something, and
Really?
he's been out. But he got cleared today.
Wow.
So
Waste no time.
waste no time. Get him in there.
So what's your opinion of the conference overall?
It's good. It's a beatdown. I mean, everybody's good. Everybody can beat you. You know what I mean? And you can beat.
Throw at me, I'll show you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have a chance to beat anybody, and they have a chance to beat you. There's no off days.
Nope.
Like it's a grind.
I notice you've got like non-conference games with Southern As and East Central.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotten to be more and more prevalent nowadays. It's the same teams you play in your conference, but they don't count as conference games.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because, I mean, with the Lone Star going to that all-conference schedule, I mean, you're kind of limited with
Right.
who you can play. So all the local, like, Oklahoma Christian is still in that. UFAS jumped out and went to the MIAA, so, that's how we got that on schedule. Cameron is in, the Lone Star. It just kind of makes it tough scheduling-wise because you're limited. So, you're looking who can you play that's a reasonable distance, and
Yeah, how do you feel about, I remember years ago Coach Fabian in softball, they used to play 4-game series in softball. And he didn't like it because then it limited how many non-conference games you could schedule.
Yeah. No, I agree. I hope we don't do it. We barely have enough pitching to get through 3 games, let alone 4. You know what I mean?
So that reminds me, I was going to ask you this. Any major changes in conference rules or regulations or anything different this year except we talked about the pitch clock's going to be visible?
Yeah. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think much change.
What about just rules to college baseball? Anything different?
No, not really.
I mean, a few years ago they went with you could use the electronic equipment on the field to communicate with and all that.
Yeah. Well, now I guess you can use it for offensive purposes.
Oh, that's new?
Yeah.
So everybody can wear one?
Yeah, everybody can wear one 1 through 9.
Do you like that or not? The old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, I like it because now,
Are you going to have that?
yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna get it.
You're going to
Yeah.
get the electronic stuff? Okay,
Yes, sir.
cool. For the pitcher and catcher and
Pitcher,
the batters
catcher.
too.
Yep. I don't know
So-
if we're gonna use it offensively, but we might.
So who all gets one?
So right now, I think
Is it limited?
no, you can have
Everybody on the
everybody,
field can
yeah.
have one?
Yeah.
Do you plan on that being the case?
I don't think so. I mean, we'll see. Depends on how many we can get, I suppose. But I mean, for sure, the shortstop, the first
Pitcher,
baseman,
catcher.
pitcher, catcher. I think those for sure. And then if you have enough, then you can have.
So how does that process take place? Who actually calls the pitch?
It'd be the pitching coach.
So Ross
Coach
calls
Davis.
the pitch.
Yes.
And he has a device on.
Yeah, he'll have kind of like an iPad.
So he talks and they can all hear him.
Well, he'll have an iPad and he'll put in, fastball outside.
And does it verbally say it?
No. It'll come up and say on their wristband what it is.
Oh, okay. So it's a wristband. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen OBU one year had some kind of earphone thing.
Yeah. Yeah, headphone.
So you can use that too. Either
Yeah,
way.
you can use that. You can use the devices. Our experiences with the headpiece is, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for stopping by. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed
absolutely.
the visit.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we can get back up here and
Yeah.
talk some more baseball on Monday.
We got at least one game to go.
Yep.
Gray's up 2-0 now.
No, tied.
Oh, no, that's right. It's
Yep.
tied up now.
Tied 1-1. Yep.
That they switched uniforms.
Yep.
That's right.
They'll switch uniforms.
So blue,
next time.
yes, blue Tuesday is gray today. So
Yep.
the series is 1-1. So we got
1-1.
2 more games at least.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much. I enjoyed the visit, and we've
Yeah,
got
absolutely. I
baseball.
appreciate it.
Actually, baseball's not that far away. The start
No.
of the baseball season. It's not. It seems like it. We got a whole winter to go, but no, it doesn't work that way.
No, couple months.
It'll be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and bam, it'll be
Yeah.
right there.
Absolutely.
Well, good luck, and thanks for coming by today.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
And so we said again, the next game is going to be Monday at 2:30.
Monday at 2:30.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Tune in on the Southeastern Sports Network.